Okay, so it's finally come time to put this guy back together. So I've just gone ahead and I cleaned everything and painted it real nice. After I power wash it, took a wire brush to everything and then put a couple coats of paint, I guess protector, and now we're ready to start putting it together. So we're going to start with the overrunning clutch, and this one's nice because it only really goes in one way. So we're going to put it in so you can see that it slides in like that, but if you were to turn it around, it actually won't go in there. So that's actually really nice, because some transmissions you can actually put it in backwards. So that slides in just like that, and we're gonna I'm actually gonna remove this so I can lubricate it, because you want to always lubricate things when you're putting them together. You don't want to put it together dry. So just put it in. There we go. And then we got the low reverse drum that we're going to put on, and that just goes right in the middle. You can see that it turns this way, but it won't turn the other way, and that's how it works. Next we have this pin that's going to go in this way. Actually, it has to come in through the back. So let's just put this up. Alright, we're going to install the low reverse servo, so I'm going to lube this up, some transmission fluid, as well as this guy. Actually, we need to take this out just to give ourselves just a little bit more room for this lever, and then we're going to just put that front part in, and then it should just slide right in. There we go. We got the spring, and then the spring retainer, and then we gotta compress this guy all the way to put the snap ring back in. Alright, so I'm just trying to work this snap ring all around. Alright, so I managed to get this snap ring in. What I had to do, take this little plate from the other one, the other band, put it on like that, use the lever to actually push the spring down, and then jam this behind the lever to hold it down while I finagle the snap ring in with a screwdriver. So I managed to get it in, but man, the crap you have to go through without the special tools. Alright, so now we have the new low reverse band. So we're gonna put that in here, and I'll get a close up of this later in the next shot. So we're going to, looks like we can only put the low reverse band on with that out of the case, so we're gonna do that. The way this works is the two lugs back there hook onto where the pin goes, and then this lug here goes underneath this lever, the single one. So now we can finally keep this in here, putting it between the band. There we go. So now this will grab the drum like that. Just a top view here. The two lugs from the band go right here in this little groove. So let me just show you how this works. I'm using 25 psi. You want to use low pressure when you test these sort of things. So we're going to put this in here and we're going to see how this actuates the band. So you turn in and then it grabs onto it. That's how it works. Alright, we got the kick down servo next. So let's just lubricate this up. And then we will carefully put it in. We got spring here. I'm gonna lube this guy up. So next I gotta use my C-clamp again for this. Put the snap ring in. There we go. Okay, let's just do a little test to see if all the seals are holding. Seems good. Alright, next we have to put the output shaft support on. And the gasket is actually comes in two, whereas before it came in one. It seemed like, unless they were stuck together. We have this one right here, and that will go like something like that. And then the other one is when you put the overdrive unit on, and that goes on like that. So we don't have to worry about this one for now. So it only goes on one way onto the support. So I'm going to just use a couple of bolts in the support to keep it aligned. And then alright, so it's important when you're putting this on to make sure that these two tube holes are lined up perfectly. We're going to tighten to 150 inch-pounds. It's a 3/8 socket. Alright, now we have the snap ring to put back on. There we go. Alright, so next we're going to put in the planetary gear assembly. So I'm just going to lubricate the output shaft so it will slide in easily. And we're going to be very careful here not to damage the output shaft surfaces. Alright, so we have these lugs on this gear. I don't know if you can see it. We're going to engage it with the low reverse drum. There we go. Okay, so I got the transmission between two tables here, so the output shaft can go between them and I can assemble it better, or I can assemble it in the vertical position, which is easier. So the first thing we have is this washer that goes on that bottom of that shaft there. Then we have this little 3-tanged washer, and that goes on the other side of this in those little grooves. And I just put Vaseline on the washer so that it won't fall out on us while we're trying to assemble this. So we're going to make sure all the clutches are seated on this part here. Now we're going to drop this in and make sure those lugs line up with the lugs on the other assembly. I'm going to install the band now. There we go. You want to get both the front parts facing towards the bottom. Alright, so now we have this guy, and there's a little groove in here that accepts this part, and that goes right there. And then we have to screw in the adjusting nut through this side. That goes right here. I want to be able to rotate this. We're going to adjust this later, so we'll keep it like that for now. Alright, it's come time to put the pump gasket on, so I'm just going to put some oil around here just to hold the gasket in. Put a little Vaseline to hold this in place. Okay, I think that last one got it. All the bolts are screwing in nice. So we're going to snug them just by hand. And then we're going to make sure that the shafts can still spin. Make sure nothing's binding. They'll spin. Both shafts, output and input. This one might be hard to spin. But we're looking for binding. So I'm going to keep periodically checking that as I'm tightening. We're going to tighten these to 175 inch-pounds. Okay, next we're going to replace this seal that the manual shaft goes through. We're just going to get a screwdriver in there. This screwdriver is breaking. It has a wooden handle. There we go. Alright, we got our new one. A socket. And this is a soft blow hammer, so we're not going to hurt anything. Alright, we're going to put the adjusting bolt into this little swing arm here. I'm just going to thread it all the way down. Now we need to adjust this. Okay, so the manual says that we need to tighten this adjusting screw to 72 inch-pounds first. That's the first step. I kind of went over on that one. Let me just loosen this. Redo that. Okay, so we're at 72 inch-pounds. So now, this process is different depending on which transmission you have. For the 42RH, it says back it off 4 turns. For the 46RH, 47RH, you back it off 2 turns. So this is the 42RH, so we're going to back it up 4 turns here. So I'm starting right here. Let's just pick an easy place to start. Starting this way, so we're gonna, that's a 1/4 turn, and now I'm just gonna use my finger. So that's 1 turn, 1/4, half, 3/4, 2 turns, 1/4, half, 3/4, 3 turns, 1/4, half, 3/4, 4 turns. So there's 4 turns. So now we're gonna put the adjusting screw back on. But we gotta hold this. This is a 1/4 inch socket, by the way. We need to hold this while tightening the nut. So now we have to hold this still while we tighten the nut. Okay, alright, we're going to put this accumulator in. Let's just lube this up. Some transmission fluid. Lube up the accumulator with the new seals. And then we'll just slide her in. Make sure it moves freely. Alright. Now comes time to reinstall the valve body. So a couple of things. I lubed up these O-rings for when we put them through, and also I'm trying to make sure this whole lever assembly doesn't come up and the check ball will fall out. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this around, and we're going to feed this parking rod through the hole here. Make sure that the connector goes through that hole. Make sure that goes through there, this part, and then just give it a little bit of wiggling. There we go. Now, if you remember, there were 2 size mounting bolts for the valve body. You got these longer bolts, and then you got the shorter ones. Now, the longer ones, I said in my other video, 2 of them go here, and then 1 of them goes up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run down. Well, let's make sure that everything is fully seated. We're not fully seated here. That's because this electrical connector isn't going through all the way yet. There we go. Make sure that's through all the way. Okay, so now I'm just going to run down. Let's make sure that's lined up. Just going to thread all the bolts in by hand and make sure they're all spinning freely, and then we'll torque them down. Okay, this is the neutral safety switch. We're going to replace the seal at the top of it. Just pull that off. And let me just clean this up a little bit. Okay, we're all cleaned up. The new one just goes over like that. Alright, so we're going to install the neutral safety switch now. Just threads right in. So here's a close-up. You can see a little button at the top of the switch goes into these grooves, and depending on if the switch is pressed or not, as the shaft turns, it either starts the switch or it doesn't. So this position, the switch is pressed in, and I believe these are the drive positions, so the car wouldn't start if it's in that position. This is park, so you see that it's not pressed. And if we go to neutral, which is going to be hard for me to do, I believe that's neutral. So you can see that you could start the car in either neutral or park. Alright, now we're gonna tighten these down to 105 inch-pound. Alright, time to close this thing up. We got a new gasket. And newly painted pan. This pan was in pretty rough shape. Clean the inside and clean the magnet out. So we're gonna put this pan, and don't forget the filter, or else you're going to have to pull the pan again and install it. Okay, I flipped her over. I'm just gonna snug up this the neutral safety switch. It doesn't have to be super duper tight, and I wish I had a better wrench to fit in here. There we go. Alright, to adjust this rear band, it's the same procedure as the reverse. Tighten it to the same torque spec, except for when you loosen it, you always loosen it 2 turns. Alright, now we're going to put this lever on. So it goes like this. Alrighty. Alright, we're ready to put the overdrive piston on. Just got some Vaseline again, good old Vaseline. And I'm just going to put it around the piston. And you know, now that I remember this, when I took this out, this seal was pretty much, it wasn't really providing a good seal around this. In fact, what I'm trying to say is it fell out rather easily. So, putting some Vaseline on, we're going to put this new piston. Now there are 2 pegs here. So it looks like this can only go on one way. There's a little boss here. And if I try to put it on, it looks like the boss will hit this. So we're going to put it on like this. Damn. This is another one of those lip seals. It's really annoying to get in. Alright, I got it on. Sorry I didn't get it on camera. It was giving me a lot of trouble. So now we're going to put this spacer on. I'm going to put some Vaseline to help it stick. And I've lubricated the shaft and the overdrive unit as well. So here we go. Alright, and where's my bearing? Bearing. There we go. Alright, we're going to do the same thing to this bearing. Let's put some Vaseline on it. Now the lip, if you remember, goes facing that way. It's funny, sometimes if I forget, I just watch my video. And if you're doing this, it wouldn't be a bad idea to take video. You know, it's come in handy a lot for me. Alright, we gotta put the gasket on now. I'm using just a little bit of RTV around here. And this is just so the gasket will stay put. The last part right here, and that's to put the overdrive unit on. So hopefully I can do this okay. So you gotta keep note of the parking pawl rod. I'm gonna put it in park. So, and I've lubricated everything. All right. All right, I think we are good to go. So we're just gonna put the rest of the bolts in. All right, we got these 2 top bolts with the brackets. Alright, we got to tighten these bolts to 25 foot-pounds. I can't really get in here with my torque wrench, so I'm going to have to guess on this one using my experience, but I think it'll be okay. These aren't super duper critical bolts. So let's see here. There's one. First, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've already torqued one. Alright, we're going to check if the parking mechanism works. I'm going to turn the output shaft. The sounds you hear is the overrunning clutch. That's what they sound like. So then I'm going to park it, and I can't move that shaft. So the parking mechanism works fine. One more thing to do. Alright guys, this is the last step. Got a new gasket here, a new cover plate. Well, cover plate's not new, but I painted it. In retrospect, I should have cleaned up these bolts a little bit to make it look nicer, but literally no one will see this. This is the only way to see this is if the transmission's out of the vehicle. Alright. Oh, damn, I gotta go get a Torx. Alrighty. Let's just run these down. Alright guys, I lied. This is the last step. We have this little bracket, and then this bolt that goes through it this way. It's an interesting little setup here. And then we have this little tension spring that attaches here. And now we're done. Alrighty. She's all done. I put the torque converter in just for, you know, showmanship. But it's kind of dark anyway, it's hard to see it. But I still need, this is a new torque converter. You should replace the torque converter when you do a rebuild. I think I went over that in my intro video. When you do that, you have to fill up the torque converter with fluid. You don't want to put this in dry. So you can get better lighting. Yeah, there we go. That's way better. Alrighty. She's finally done. I probably won't shoot video on reinstalling it just because I want this to be over. This project has gone on for a long time. Alright, well that pretty much wraps it up. This guy's all done. I'm going to reinstall it. The landlord's going to help me lift it back up, but I'm happy to be done with this project. It's gone on for a long time. So with transmission work, a lot of the times you're just waiting on parts, and that's kind of what happened here. So thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. See you later.